With the NFL draft only one day away, it's time to get those final mock drafts in. So here it is, my predictive 2022 NFL mock draft. This is what I think will happen and not necessarily what I would do. So if you're like, oh man, that's a terrible pick, chances are I might agree with you. But what's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. I will be live all 3 days of the draft with live reactions, live analysis. So join me for that. If you want to check out my top 300 big board, I put that out just a little earlier today, so check that out. Without further ado, let's go ahead and do the nitty gritty and get into this sucker, starting with number one. Hey, Travon Walker, he is currently the odds-on favorite. We know the history between Harbaugh and Balky. Wow, blanked on his name for a second. So chances are this could happen. Again, I'm not going to bet against Vegas when it comes to this. So I'm going to go with Travon Walker. It's a big surprise. Again, not necessarily what I would do, but here it is. On to number two, and I honestly think this one's pretty easy, but I'm going with, here we go, Aiden Hutchinson. You could also make a case for KT here, but Aiden Hutchinson, he may not have the highest ceiling compared to Walker or KT, but he definitely has the highest floor. He's a locker room guy. He's a hometown boy. He's going to be a culture shock type of guy. So they go with him there. Houston, this is where things get interesting because rumor is they're in on three guys: Ikem Ekwonu, Derek Stingley, and Ahmad the Sauce Gardner. So best believe I am lost in the sauce. That's right, lost in the sauce. I know it's a little wild, it's a little crazy. Just makes me think it can very well happen. You would think coming from Lovie Smith's defense, they would value maybe an edge rusher more at this pick, but also Lovie Smith might not be the long-term answer there at coach. He might be a bridge coach. It's a terrible thing to say, but you know, the NFL just, they don't always do the right thing. So Sauce, he's being hotly talked about here around at the 3 or the 4 spot. So I have him here going at 4. And right now the hot name, well, 3 hot names currently for the Jets being, well, outside of Deebo Samuel, is Jermaine Johnson, one of the corners, whether it's Sauce or Stingley, and Ikem Ekwonu. And this is total Joe Douglas. I go with Ikem Ekwonu. And you might be like, they got Mekhi Becton. They have George Fant. George Fant's on the last year of his deal, while Becton really, like, Salah, he's got to come in and earn his job. So they might, again, keep in mind, Salah, he didn't bring in Becton. That's not his guy. So they go with him here. That's kind of like the hot name buzzing around for the Jets at this moment. So with the first tackle off the board, best believe I don't think this changes what the Giants are going to do, and they go tackle as well. But they're going Charles Cross. That's kind of the name being brought out around the Giants community. Evan Neal came out with a medical report, again, like medical concerns, again, with how validated that is. We saw with JOK last year, it ended up being a false flag. But Evan Neal came out there with Bahan Raymond as big medical concerns today. So let's just say perhaps maybe Evan Neal does take a little bit of a stumble. So they go Charles Cross here. And honestly, I did a couple of these and I ended up going Cross. Even with Icky on the board, it just seems like Cross might be the guy for the Giants. They did have a private workout with him where they were testing him out at right tackle. So maybe they like what they saw. Now, I am doing trades in this simulator right now, a hot name in terms of being a trade up. And we know the Panthers, they're listening to offers. If they could, they probably would like to get out of this 6th pick. So a hot name being tossed around right now is the Philadelphia Eagles. You may not be able to see it well, so I'll tell it to you. The trade, it consists of the Eagles 15, their 51st, and their 101st pick. And they will get the 6th pick, and they basically swap players as Andre Dillard heads to the Carolina Panthers. Robbie Anderson heads to the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Eagles are trading up. You may be like, for who? And by the way, I mean, good job for the Panthers. They get to trade down. They get some picks. And on top of that, they get, hopefully, their starting left tackle. So we'll talk about the Panthers later. But who is it that the Eagles are trading up for? It's not Derek Stingley. I got Kayvon Thibodeau. Right now, he's the name. If he is on the board, the Eagles might make a move for him. And if they could retain that other first-round pick, good on them. They grab KT here. And man, yeah, KT, it's so wild just to think KT could fall, and I just don't see him falling far. Really, I think the floor for him is probably the 8th pick there for the Falcons. And then the Giants, they're going to keep this next pick, and they're just going to go Derek Stingley. We know the James Bradberry rumors about maybe them moving on from him because of his contract. Dory Jackson might not be the long-term answer there on the outside either. So they bring in Derek Stingley, a very high upside type of guy that you hope can regain that 2019 spark. And then at 8, man, this was so tough for the Falcons. Because right now, the names circling around are Jermaine Johnson, Drake London, and quarterbacks being floated around. And I did think about Evan Neal here, because I don't think he's going to take that big of a stumble. But they don't go with Evan Neal, and I just couldn't bring myself to saying Drake. I don't think Drake London is going to be a top 10 pick. Maybe the NFL is just higher on him than I am. And it's not even like I'm low on him. I don't know about taking him in the top 10. So I go with Jermaine Johnson here. I really, in my initial mock, this is why I did multiple different mocks to see different theories, and I had him going to 4 with the Jets, but man, I really think there might be something to the Chem rumors if he makes it past the Texans. So I got Jermaine Johnson coming here. They get some legit pass rush after adding Casey Hayward, who again, not a long-term answer, but someone that they're putting there at a corner that they could start. And straight up, this team needs pass rush. Jermaine Johnson, I find it hard to believe that he makes it past 14. I think that's probably his floor at the Ravens. I think the NFL probably considers him a top 10 pick though. And then at 9, the Seattle Seahawks. They also have quarterback rumors, but let's not kid ourselves. Evan Neal. I think the only other pick I was considering here was Jordan Davis, because I firmly believe Jordan Davis will be off the board before the Ravens, which I kind of see that being his floor. Or you could even say the Eagles at 15, which is now the Carolina pick though now. But yeah, Jordan Davis, a hard guy to mock in this draft, but I just can't see Evan Neal falling that far. They have 2 big holes at both tackle spots with Shell and Brown still being free agents, so they snag Evan Neal. This Jets pick, we talked about some hot names, and I like going receiver here. And they do go receiver, but it's in a trade. They do the Debo. It sounds like the Debo trade could happen any second. If it does, it wouldn't shock me. Also, if it doesn't happen, it won't shock me either. But I'd rather just try to guess that this does happen. The Niners are able to get the 10th pick. So basically, the Niners get the 10th pick. They get the 69th pick. Nice. While the Jets will get Debo, and they get the 93rd pick. And so now we got the Niners here at 10. Best believe they go with a replacement for Debo in Garrett Wilson. The NFL sounds high on him. There are questions. Will he be the first receiver off the board? I really think if it's Jameson Williams, if a receiver goes off the board before him. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to take Drake London in front of either of those guys. So the Niners, they trade up. They trade up because they lost Debo, but they get Garrett Wilson. I think regardless, even if the Jets keep this pick, this is probably Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams. And that's why I'm kind of hedging my bet there. And then, Washington fans, you're not going to like this one. So Drake London I really considered, but I talked about how Jordan Davis can't. I can see him go. Quite frankly, I could see this cat going to Atlanta. I could see him going to the Seahawks. Only other spot I really think could happen is probably Washington. And if he falls past here, then I mean, man, I think the Jets or the Eagles are going to be the team, or not the Jets. The Ravens or the Eagles are going to be one of the teams to snag him. But hey, man, there has been some shaking up there on the interior for Washington as they didn't bring back Matt I or Tim Settle. Sounds like Daron Payne. They didn't. Sounds like this might be the final year with him. So they grab a unicorn in Jordan Davis. This was also, I also considered a trade down spot, but Jordan Davis started making a bit more sense. Again, we're doing predictive, not necessarily what I would do. And then at 12, the Minnesota Vikings. No corner on the board. I mean, you could consider Trent McDuffie here, but I think McDuffie might take a bit of a stumble. So I went with, I know this is going to be popular with Vikings fans, Jameson Williams. They grab him, a guy that could play in the slot, play on the outside with Justin Jefferson. They still got Thielen there as well. They have a new coaching staff, a new GM. I know that they talked about how who's currently their wide receiver coach. It's like Keenan McDonald, or I'm getting that wrong. Keenan. McCardell. There we go. There we go. Yes. And he was like, hey, don't draft receiver. Our receiver room's good. They're putting that information out there. And I think it's a big smokescreen. I think if Jameson Williams is here, the Vikings will take him, especially if they don't see Sauce or Derek Stingley, and I don't think they will. So I think they're putting out a smokescreen. I believe this pick will be, whether it's Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams. And then at 13, I have a trade up. No players involved in this one, though. And sorry, Steelers fans. This is predictive, man. I gotta do it. Maybe it doesn't shake this way when I do my what I would do mock draft tomorrow. But I got this, and I know the Texans are very open to trading down. They wouldn't mind trading out. So basically, the Texans will pick up the 20th pick, the second round pick, and a third rounder, 2023. Honestly, I think they can maybe even get by with just giving 2/3 to move up. But considering this is probably for quarterback, they might have to invest a little bit more. While the Steelers will get the 13th and they'll get the 207th pick. Y'all should already know who this is going to be. It's Malik Willis. He's currently the odds-on favorite to be the first quarterback off the board. I do believe that. So he's here at 13. And then at 14, we have... this is the Baltimore Ravens, and they go BPA, baby. That's right. Good luck predicting where Kyle Hamilton goes in this draft class, but if you're the Baltimore Ravens, just take the best player available. Like, they don't need him. They have Brandon Stevens. They have Chuck Clark. They just brought in Marcus Williams, and it's like Kyle Hamilton's kind of an upgrade over both Clark and Stevens, who they only invested a third round pick in. And they like their 3 safety sets. So grabbing Hamilton, who brings a lot of versatility, he kind of just falls to you here. Again, you're going best player available. And quite frankly, the board shakes out to where it's like, you know what? Kyle Hamilton has to go somewhere. And he looked good in that purple. I'll just say that. All right. This is the Panthers pick. We're not going to think nothing of it. We're just going to go ahead. Kenny Pickett. So they get Andre Dillard as their left tackle, and then being able to move down and get Kenny Pickett. Listen, if they're going to go quarterback anyway, this is an ideal scenario. So I do believe Kenny Pickett will go in the first round somewhere. And it's just the Panthers feel like the best bet when it comes to that. We'll find out tomorrow. All right, the New Orleans Saints. I firmly believe they traded up in front of the Chargers to grab a tackle, and I believe he's going to go a lot higher than where most people have him on his board or on their board. They go Trevor Penning here at 16 to be the replacement for Terron Armstead. So now you got a big question. Chargers sitting here, no Jordan Davis. I know that used to be a popular pick there. No Trevor Penning. I know, Chargers fans. I'm trying to desensitize you into accepting that Penning might be the pick there. But instead, they go ahead, they get a very polished receiver and a burner in Chris Olave. And legit kind of just snag him in front of both the Saints and the Eagles, which I think those are probably the two teams that could make a bid for Chris Olave. So he ends up here for the Chargers, kind of how the board shook out. All right, on to 18. I believe this is the Eagles pick. Yep, and I go Trent McDuffie. I don't see Trent McDuffie falling that far, and honestly, this is great value. He's a great scheme fit. So Eagles, you end up leaving the first round with Trent McDuffie and Kayvon Thibodeau. That's a hell of a haul. All right, Saints fans, sorry, not sorry. No receiver here. Instead, I think you're getting maybe a quarterback to the future, maybe a quarterback that's not ready to start now. Listen, Matt Corral is attending the draft. Does that mean he necessarily goes on day one? No. But he's going to have to go somewhere, whether maybe that's a team trading up, maybe like the Seahawks or the Falcons. They've been rumored to want to be in this quarterback class and maybe move back up in the back end of the first round. Maybe the Saints just don't let it happen. Maybe they're like, we got Jameis because Matt Corral's not ready now. Everyone thinks that we made this move because they think we're in a Super Bowl window now. And yes, we do think that. We do. But let's try to maybe develop a guy for the future to be our quarterback of the future. So Matt Corral, 3 quarterbacks off the board in the first 19 picks. Say it ain't so. All right, this is the Texans pick. They traded down, and yeah, it's going to seem unsexy, but these linebackers have to go somewhere. So Devin Lloyd's going to the Texans. They really have no one there at linebacker. So they snag him. They snag Sauce. They go real defensive. Levy Smith, he's a defensive-minded coach. And, man, Devin Lloyd's going to be a phenomenal run stuffer. He gives you a little bit of a pass rushing upside. Like we talked about how in that cover 2 that they really like explosive pass rushers. Like Devin Lloyd could come off the edge. He did that sometimes at Utah, and he was very successful in that manner. And he just has that nice length to clog passing lanes. All right, this is actually going to be the final trade of the first round. So I got 4 trades. And really, I didn't have that many until the Debo stuff came out, and then it really complicated things. So I actually have the Patriots, because let's be honest, if any team's trading down, it's going to be the Patriots. So the team I have trading up is the Detroit Lions. So basically, the Patriots, they're going to get 32. They're going to grab their third rounder at 66, and they're going to grab 177. Lions, they'll get 85. So they still retain a third rounder. They're just moving back about 20 spots. And then they're going to be moving back, 23 spots there. And I believe that's like the 5th, 6th round. So the Detroit Lions are moving up, and it's to make a move at wide receiver. And you might be like, who? Well, they did so good with the USC wide receiver last year, and he's vastly different than anything they have on their roster currently. So they go Drake London. I still believe Drake London he's going in the first round. Where he goes, that's a good question. He could go to Washington. He could go to Atlanta. Like he might be the first wide receiver on the board. But if he falls, I couldn't really find a good landing spot for him. So I have Detroit trading up to snag Drake London. And then at 22, this being the Packers, their first pick. And they're not going wide receiver. You might be like, oh man, Treylon Burks is on the board, or maybe even if they're in on George Pickens, despite the whole, now everyone's making a fuss over maturity issues we already knew about. So, again, it's the draft. We're days away. A lot of smoke being blown. But I got the Packers going with Zion Johnson. I think getting more help on the offensive line is also going to be on the forefront of their priorities, as they dealt with some injuries last year. Having a guy with this type of versatility that can move all over the place. Keep in mind they also lost Is it Lucas Patrick Lewis. These guys with two first names as names, it messes me up. So Zion Johnson, he hits all their thresholds in terms of size, length, and athleticism. So here he goes. And then at 23, Cardinals. I know this isn't sexy, but George Karlaftis, I firmly believe he goes somewhere in the first round. They get a cat that's a high motor, hot motor, big tank individual who's got that power. He's got that explosiveness. He's not necessarily the most bendiest guy, but he has a skill set that does translate to success in the NFL. So they grab him here. They did just lose Chandler Jones. So you gotta find someone to plug in there. All right, 24, Dallas Cowboys. I know everyone's been getting lazy with Kenyon Green, and I won't do that to you. I won't do that to you, Cowboys. But there's legitimacy to Jerry Jones wants to address the offensive line. And currently, this is a hot name that's being talked about at the back end of the first round. And I went with Tyler freaking Smith. Maybe your heir apparent at left tackle. You can immediately plug him in there at left guard. So he goes here. Again, another hot name kind of rising. Oh, man. Is this the Bill? I think this is the Bills pick. Yeah, Bills fans, you're going to hate me. Listen, we've seen running backs go in the first round like almost every year for the most part. I know there was a dry spell. I can't remember which draft it was. No, even in that draft, it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, yeah, I think Breece Hall, I think he's going to sneak into the first round. I think there's a good chance of that happening. And if so, the only team I could really think of is the Buffalo Bills. Maybe take some of that weight off the shoulders of Josh Allen. And I don't think Zach Moss and Devin Singletary are guys that are going to get it done. So, Bills fans, you're going to hate it. Don't worry. You'll get a better mock draft tomorrow. But today, you get Breece Hall. All right, 26. I believe this is the Tennessee Titans. If I am to be believed correct. Yes. They go with Kenyon Green. I couldn't get off this. I think they're going offensive line. If it's not quarterback, I guess. But we already have 3 quarterbacks off the board. Maybe they don't go in on a Sam Howell or a Desmond Ridder. So they go Kenyon Green. You got to make sure that your offensive line is A-okay for a return in, a vibrant, a healthy Derrick Henry. He's the engine to your offense. Make sure that the frame being the offensive line is just mwah. You got to hold that left guard spot because Dylan Radins is moving to right tackle. So Kenyon Green, probably his best play in college, came at the left guard spot. And then at 27, see if I can remember who's on the board here. I don't think I can. Oh, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, let's just go over here. Devontae Wyatt. I think he goes in the first round. Seems like a good fit. He'll be kind of like the Sue replacement there. He's got a pro race skill set, and let's be honest about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They kind of have a Super Bowl window. So they get a pro ready player right here. Green Bay Packers fans, you might be like, which receiver did you get us? And unfortunately, this is a predictive mock draft. When have y'all ever cared about receiver? Instead, I went with Daxton Hill, and you might be like, what the hell? We got Savage. We got Amos. We got Alexander, who might be playing a lot in the slot next year. We brought back oh gosh, why is his name? Well, you have Eric Stokes, and then was it Dowlin? Dowlin? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. But you brought him back, and he had a hell of a year for you last year. And I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you one bit. But he's actually a really good scheme fit guy. You can play deep. You can play in the slot. He's versatile in that manner. And listen, Packers, y'all just don't. Y'all don't draft receivers. Y'all hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. Y'all hate Aaron Rodgers. You're lucky I didn't take Jordan Love with this pick. I'm just going to say that. Or Jordan Love's replacement, I should say. Hey. All right. We could probably go over both Kansas City Chiefs picks. Well, I'm going to start with George Pickens. He's the hot name right now with here in the late first round, mainly being to the Packers, who they like to take high character guys, and the maturity issues. It's kind of a question. It's like a little bit of a question mark in the Chiefs, who've known to well, not care about that stuff. We've seen it with guys like Tyreek Hill. We've seen it with Frank Clark. We've seen it with Willie Gay. So maybe they're like, yeah, no, let's try to get a receiver that's vastly different than anyone who we currently have on our roster. And then with the next pick, I think they do get some edge help. I was tossing and turning between Boye Mafe and Arnold Ebiketie. I settled on Arnold Ebiketie. I think Ebiketie sneaks in the first round somewhere. I really do. So here he is going to the Chiefs. Yeah, you haven't brought back Melvin Ingram. Hopefully he goes to the Dolphins. There's that hope. He visited. Don't crush my dreams. So they end up getting him here. And then at 31, Bengals fans, this is predictive. Really can see it happening. It's not Travis Jones. It's Logan Hall. Not even Tyler Linderbaum, but Logan Hall. Like straight up, man, that defensive tackle, 3 spots, very important to the Cincinnati Bengals. Larry Ogunjobi had over 500 some snaps, close to 600, and that was the 3rd most for anyone on the defensive interior. So Logan Hall, he's coming to a place where he's going to see a lot of playing time. He's got that 3 to 5 tech versatility because you already kind of got your nose guys in Reader and BJ Hill. So they grab Logan Hall. There's been a lot of first round buzz on Logan Hall. So you might be like, who are the Patriots getting with this pick? And you know what? There's a Georgia linebacker on the board that I think could sneak into the first round. And it's Quay Walker. You might be like, what? Quay Walker goes over Nakobe Dean. And I don't think it's that necessarily that much of a long shot. The NFL is going to love Quay Walker's athletic ability, size, his length. And Nakobe Dean, quite frankly, they question his athleticism. I don't, but they do. And they don't like his size. So a team like the Patriots that might like a guy now that they don't have Jamie Collins or Dante Hightower, maybe a linebacker that could fill in one of those 2 roles, because I do think we're going to see 2 linebackers off the board, at least in the first round. So I grabbed Quay Walker. And again, this is all predictive. So a very interesting mock and a very vastly different mock than what you're probably going to see tomorrow. But this was a ton of fun, and I don't think it's too far off. Let's talk about some of the guys that snuck out, like Bernhard Raimann, again, with the medical concerns potentially coming out. I don't think he was going to be a first-round guy anyway. It doesn't sound like the NFL likes him, even though I do. Treylon Burks, again, this is going to be my take, my hot take. I think he slips out of the first round. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sky Moore or Jahan Dotson go before Treylon Burks. Again, this is predictive, so there's going to be some hot takes here and there with it. Andrew Booth, I really considered him with the Arizona pick, but there really has been like no buzz on Andrew Booth recently, which might be a good thing. Maybe that means maybe he goes to the Eagles, maybe he goes to the Cardinals, maybe he goes to the Bengals. So maybe that's a good thing. Kyrie Elam, I just don't think the NFL's high on, even though I have a first round grade on him. Who are some other guys? Travis Jones, obviously, but he's a guy that's probably early second anyway. But yeah, no, it was shock. This was shocking. Like straight up, like, this is predictive because Sam Howell's my QB2. Desmond Ridder is my QB3. And I have neither of those guys in the first round when drafting 3 quarterbacks. It's Matt Corral, it's Kenny Pickett. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. You let me know what you think. I know there's going to be a lot of people that hate some of these picks, but that's kind of the nature of, trying to do a predictive. You're not going to satisfy everybody. And you can't really, honestly, there's going to be some hateful comments down there. I'll be like, I don't blame you. I don't disagree. I know some Buffalo fans will like Breece Hall, but me personally, I don't like the Breece Hall pick. I wouldn't take running back in the first round, though. You'd have to be a rare specimen, maybe like a certain running back I really like from Texas. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.